So greetings everyone. Today we're going over another Dosaku game. Two of them in fact. I bet you didn't know that. Usually I go over only one, but today we're going over two games. These games of course are featuring Dosaku and they're actually going to be rather violent today. Names are of course in the upper left and lower right hand corners. As to avoid confusion as to who is who. And unlike the first game, where we had a lot of unusual play with 5-3 openings, for example. Today we're going to see something a bit more traditional. What's more traditional than the 3-4 stone, I ask you? Yep, got a game ripe with nothing but traditional moves. Until white plays and decides corners are for wimps and tries to start a fight immediately. Dosaku, of course, takes him up on his offer. An unusual move. Usually we would go and take corners instead. But alright, we're going to go ahead and pincer. Gonna go ahead and pincer. And then white says, I'm Mr. Tricky Man. Behold my trickiness. I am preparing something rather special for you. We can imagine the follow-up. I imagine some of us can imagine the follow-up a lot better than others right now. Potentially pincering and leaning on stone to get a bit of a fight going on here. Black says, I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and take another corner because you don't seem to do it. You don't seem to want it, so I'm going to take it for myself. I'm going to play nice and solid. Welcome to my 1600s Back to Basics series, where our opponents play all tricky moves, but we're just going to play all nice and solid. White takes extension for himself. 2-space extension, pincering the pincered stone. Getting a little bit violent. Black encloses, because really, why not? I mean, what's white going to do right now? Is white going to lean over here? I mean, we can imagine how that would go, right? Something like this. Stone's not dead, and we're kind of confined to one corner of the board. I mean, at this point, white could take an opening corner. I have no idea where. He's a little bit weird. But is what we're getting here really worth getting up to 3? Probably not, right? Probably not. Like I mentioned last time, in last game, this was a theme that came up repeatedly. Don't want to really over concentrate yourself in the beginning of the game. You'll regret it. You will regret it. Whoa. Can't play stones today. Alright, white takes a corner-ish. He plays a stone in the general corner area. Again, we're seeing the 5-3. But Mr. Solid over here, taking himself just more 3-4 points. I want to take a moment to let the YouTubers in on a little joke about how we began this particular game. I had to redo it, the opening, because we were out of sync. As you can tell by the comments, someone currently feels bad because they pointed out that it was out of sync. It's completely my fault. We began the game before I fixed the issue. You do not have to worry about that. You saved me a giant headache in editing from pointing it out as early as you did. So black takes corner. It is now white's turn. We're still not going to do this because it's going to end in gote, and then we're probably going to approach. Get another enclosure, something like that. So, what approaches? I can't really emphasize enough how unusual this placement is. In fact, if you're not sure why this placement is unusual, or why I say this placement is unusual for a pincered stone, I'd like you to go back. Okay, you're not going to do this, but go back and look at the last You know what? No, that would take way too long. Do not go back and look at the last 100 Go games that have been played today. Or recently, rather. Instead, put this position through a pattern search. How often does it occur lately? Not very often. Not very often. Nowadays, we like the wider pincer. Though if we were going to do the wider pincer, we'd kind of wish that this was here instead for a nice high-to-low extension. Kind of give a source of enclosure for the area. Or we'd be pincering high. But I have yet to really see many high pincers way back in the day. Or we'd be pincering close. But this is actually the exact spot we don't see very often. This is the exact spot we don't see nowadays. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Let's see. White takes an extension. When I was going over this game, or looking at this game rather for the first time, I thought that was rather unusual. Because he's not taking enclosure. He's not grabbing an enclosure for himself. He's just grabbing an extension. He's not following up here. He's not changing directions. He's getting an extension. Now, I would see this extension would be a good move. More of a good move if the upper right-hand corner was an enclosure, because now we're blocking the extension. But here it just seems a little weird, because like we're playing away. We're not taking more territory here. So the question becomes, what are we trying to do with this extension? What are we trying to do with it? I'd be tempted to play here, just to make certain that my opponent doesn't get to do anything tricky with the lean. With that in place, maybe get a bit of a wall, like this. That would be my idea. Play here to prevent huge wall from being created. Because I can't cut this, right? You're not going to have any opportunity to cut this after the lean, right? Oops. But that move here is not to be. Instead, black takes the diagonal for himself. I guess in exchange, we could play here, but then we would get this in compensation, or we'd get our own extension in compensation, or maybe even both in compensation. But white says, no, I don't want you to surround my stone. Okay. You do not get to go into the corner, because if we play something else right now, this is a pretty easy way to settle. It's probably the easiest way to settle. So I'm going to deny that. Now we are running. And similar to the long shot games, before we take a large move elsewhere, we do think about shape and how to annoy white. Because right now we can easily be tempted to use this as thickness, right? We're trying to make white a little bit heavier. In Sente, a little bit heavier. Making him think more about his life and what he wants to do with it. What are you going to do with that life? White leads to settle. And this is also a big thing that you're going to see reoccurring in games from this period. Like this, you see a lot of third line stones and a lot of keeping them low. So if you're not good at if you're not good at that in your own games, you'll definitely pick that up from going over these Dosaku games. Because they love keeping things low. We saw that in the first game that we went over. Alright, whose turn? White's? Okay. So White pincers, he's trying to use his influence. We don't want to just play something like here and be like, look at me, I have shape now, which you actually don't because there's a hole here, but whatever. Because then your opponent's going to respond with defending himself. And the question is, what are these stones doing? What are those stones doing? Don't really know. I think I began off that story telling how I got into Go, but no, I don't actually have a game from when I was a double-digit Q. I didn't keep them, and in fact, I think I was playing on a server that didn't allow you to save them. So yeah, I don't have games back from then. But I think that video does say how I got into it, right? I want to say it does. Why did I take those stones off the board? I have absolutely no idea. Right, so we put pincer. Black gets shape for himself. And then white attaches, because we're going for a two-space extension. Getting ourselves a base. Maybe later on we can go back, if we're strong enough, and begin poking at these shape points. Alright, I'll go with that later then. Respond with attempt to surround. Defend. Defending the corner. Keeping pressure on white stones. And here is an interesting position. Because from here, black plays away. Rather than play forward and just give more forcing moves to his opponent, which just serves to hurt his 3 stones, he stops here and plays away. Because right now we're okay. Right now, if we treat that stone lightly, we've got Sente. If we keep playing here, even a connection, for example, puts more pressure on those 3 stones. And now, I mean, I guess we're going to like respond again by giving ourselves another move here. Even the connection loses us Sente. So rather than play there some more, he says, you know what? I'm going to go back to opening theory with corners first. So we have a corner approach here. He doesn't play here, probably, because you can lean on this pretty easily. In fact, you can lean on that, and you can lean on that. So we'd have like a wall literally spanning like this around the board. Potentially. So he says, take your corner. And white says, okay. That is my corner. And we drop down. Black's developing. White gets some territory in exchange. So now I got ourselves a bit of a wall here. That done in Sente, we go back and make shape. Because again, a move like here is going to be Gote, and pretty small too. I mean, even if you're on the 4th line, you're giving your opponent Sente to I guess resume attacking, you know? So black's like, nope. I did that in Sente. Time to get shape for myself. White says, I eat stone. Black's like, yes, you do. White says, I eat stone. But that is now Sente to black. Because we've already defended here. We're defended in the corner. So black continues with a very unusual move. What is this move trying to do? What is this move trying to do? I mean, it looks like this move is just saying, yes, please go out into the corner. Go out into the center. What is this move doing? It's a very odd move. Very odd move indeed. What are we doing this move? Well, if you notice that there is Aji here for later, you would be quite correct. You would be quite correct indeed. White says poke. Black says nope. Getting ourselves some shapes, because we're never invading this area anyway, so who cares, right? This is just... These are just free moves. Free moves, free moves, free moves. The choice of where to protect, though, I thought was interesting. Because I probably would have protected here. That's where the Atari is. He protects the other side, because the corner's fine. And now there's no weird shenanigans going to happen with these two stones. Not technically being connected. I mean, maybe you could get in something like this. Maybe you can even attach here. Who knows? But since those stones are now officially connected to the corner, everything's fine. There's less Aji there. That's kind of cool. Weird shape, but yeah. Getting shape for white. Responding as black. Don't want to see that move played on the board, right? So play here. White Hane. Now here's the first truly interesting thing that occurs in the game. Up until now, we're kind of not really making terribly interesting decisions. Leaving that cut to play over here was interesting. But what's also interesting is the decision that we have now. Because a lot of people would be like, alright, I'm going to play here, now what do we do? But black says, you know what, the corner is kind of small. I'm going to go out into the middle. I'm going to prevent you from being able to keep me low over and over and over again. Right? You don't get to just keep developing that wall here. Ever. There we go. It's alright. We got the Hane. We gave the corner away. And then I want to say here, yes. Nope. Wrong stone. There we go. I'm not convinced that's... Alright. There we go. And then we poke at the cutting point. White says, no you don't. Still can't cut. And now we'll never be able to. Okay. But we did all that in Sente. Got a little bit more shape for ourselves down here. Peeping the cut. It is peeping the cut. There are a few instances when that's okay. Because by peeping the cut, if we just connect, then we get to like extend up, right? So stone's here, then white has to connect. Then if we play here, this is not alive, this corner's not alive just yet. And we did all that in Sente. We can play here, if he connects, we extend up. He connects, then we connect, and this is not alive locally. So this is still under attack. So he responds with saying, well, you know, you can give me this stone, or if you take mine, I can take yours, and this group is completely fine. This group is not going to be in trouble anymore. So peeps like that actually make sense. So we attach. White decides he likes his stones. And like so, we're going to just live in the corner. Indeed, Jelly, it is not a fake Sunday. Getting a wall in exchange for a corner. Connect. Don't want to lose stone. Same thing here. There's a cutting point there now. So we have to extend. But now that was in Sente. So white gets to reduce center. So far it's a pretty standard game, I would say. In fact, I would also say that looking maybe a smidge better for white, depending on how things go. Because we got the corner there now. This is pretty large. This really isn't. This really isn't, right? We can envision that as territory. We need to be careful of endgame. So this isn't really all that large right now. So the question is going to be, what is going to happen here? What's happening with these stones? And is that wall going to be of any value at all? That is the question now. And to that end, we go hunting for Aji. White goes underneath. He's not giving pushings and cuttings. Because obviously one problem is here, right? If we play here, then the three stones are kind of sort of not among the living. So you could say, well, I'm not going to play there then. I'm going to play here, right? But then there's still the cutting point. You could say, no, there isn't. But black would say, yes, there is. You'd have to take, and then the corner's dead. So you could say, it's okay, okay, I got this. I totally got this. It's not a problem, because I'm going to Atari this way. Now we're thinking. But then we're really, really low, and in endgame we can play this. So we got cut, that's now separated, and endgame allows us to go underneath. I guess we might even play it immediately, huh? Something like that first? While white's crawling underneath? That'd be pretty big. So you can see the Aji that's there. If you weren't able to earlier when I mentioned the cut, you can see the Aji here. It's really, really hard to deal with in a way that's not leaving something behind. And of course the obvious one, if we Atari this stone, then we Atari that stone and that one's in trouble. So you can see why there we go. This move was actually worth something. And why we don't go through and instead we go under. Right? Black comes out. White is threatening. Ooh, is white threatening? We're slowly starting to get a bit of a fight going for us now. Shape point. You don't want to get this for white because you can envision that being a potential eye now. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to respond to that? If so, the cut here is Sente. And if you just respond here, then we can just keep playing stones in here for shape. So this shape point is really, really huge. If white wants to cut, it's going to be in Gote. Speaking of cuts. Now, we would imagine defending this group, that cutting point. But that cutting point's not really in trouble right now, is it? Because we've got connection here. So instead, black just comes in. Really cool move. White says, I'm really going to kill you. Still Aji in the corner. Right? If we Atari from here, connect Atari kind of dead stones on the outside. So we can go here, but then awkward, right? So white connects. Much more Aji coming to bear in as a corner. Says, nope, I'm going to maintain nice and defended now. Because you can see what he was doing. He was slowly setting up for a kill on these stones. Because if we fight against this, then what happens when black goes back and connects? How do these stones live? So we're fine here. Means black has to follow up, and now, just like that, we have an idea for the purpose of this wall. We did not previously know what this wall was going to do, but now we do. And it's because of moves like this, and being able to see the Aji that resided in the area. Without seeing that, this area just remains white's. And it looks like black's in a lot of trouble this game, right? It looks like he's just running around trying not to be killed. And that is the value of finding Aji and counterattacking when your opponent is trying to attack you. You look for that Aji and see what you can do. See where you can go. How can you put the pressure back on him where it belongs and not on you? There we go. I think we had that. And now white's move. Do, 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 do. Don't mind me, we're just trying not to be surrounded. We're not going to Hane in return because the cut works, because you can't Atari down without getting your 2 stones in Atari. So we're going to jump out. So we're of course going to push because this is a very, very important shape point. What was it here? Yes. Alright. So we can see that now white is attempting to attack the wall. Trouble with doing this, of course, is this stone could be dead at any moment. So the wall is not as weak as you might think it is. It's got some hidden strength to it, because it can take the 1 stone and go back and live whenever possible. And we can't, for those of you who can't see, maybe double-digit Qs in the audience or something, we can't do this because it's not a ladder, it is a net. So we can kill the stone, and the cutting point doesn't work right now. So the wall is a bit stronger perhaps than you might give it credit for at first. And once we identify the wall is stronger, we can think about counterattacking. So our opponent is trying to get shape, attack wall. We evaluate the attack. We deem that it's a bit lackluster. We've got ways to be okay. So we can put pressure back on our opponent again. You can kind of see the evaluation process after the move, right? Forces white to go and start poking at cutting points. Sente, because this is starting to kill off the corner. Same thing, threatening to kill off corner. If we play here, then this is not alive locally. You would need it to be white's turn in order to go back and live here now. And it's not, so it doesn't. Instead, we play in there, and then we're in trouble. As a result, that take a sente, like so. And then we go back and connect. It's been a theme this game, though, hasn't it? Has that been kind of a theme in this game? We're always doing things in sente. Like, even from the early... Whoa, I just moved those stones. Even from the earlier on move, where we did something as simple as clamp onto this Hane stone, Black's like, you know what? I'm going to go off and do things in sente first. And then once we lost sente, we go back and play over here. And then our opponent tried to come into here, and we're like, you know what? I'm going to take sente to something else instead. So he's always very, very, very aware of what is sente and what is not. And you can see how that affects the board. Why do I have a black stone in my hand? Oh, here we go. Well, I have to connect. Then it's black's turn. Harassing the group. La 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 la. Harassing the group. La 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 la. Now we're really harassing the group. Asking the question, do you really want to go under? Well, do ya, punk? Because if you do, then you lose the stones. So sad. Get ripped. So like, I don't want to lose those stones. So I'm going to connect. And now, many players here, many players here, again, would still not take that whole sente thing to heart, would they? They'd be like, alright man, I'm going to drop down here and we're going to start fighting. Yeah. But yeah, this area is kind of open, isn't it? Is this really the time to start this kind of a fight? Oh, black had a capture? Oh, yeah. You're right. Black did have a capture. I got off my variations and I completely forgot that black had a capture. Yep. Yep. Very true. Sorry. Got off in the variations and I completely forgot. But yeah, it's something that a lot of players would do. And to be fair, knowing that you can drop down here and attack is the first part of being a good fighter. But to be a Don level fighter, this is Q fighting. This is like, bam, there are weaknesses there. I'm taking advantage of them right now. Like that's Q level fighting. If you want to like get to Don level fighting, on the other hand, you're like, you know what? I can do that, but I don't have anything like around here to really try to capture that. So I make no point dropping down. I push him out to the middle. I follow, and then there's no points in the middle. It's like, I don't know about that. So Dom level fighting takes it a one step further. Dom level is like, well, let's just see if I have force moves in the middle. What's in the middle? What can I do in this middle? Because maybe the Prophet isn't even going to be dropping down. Maybe the Prophet's going to be surrounding and forcing that to jump up. Until we know the answer to this question, we're not going to commit by playing over here. We need this question answered. Is this valuable? Do I have him cut off? Or can I Prophet in the middle and force him to connect? So here we go. Here we go and asking our questions. Questions. It's like, alright, I got some forcing moves there. It's like, well, why I have a sun in my hand? It's black. Did I do something bad? No, I didn't. Okay, good. I thought I had to capture my hand again for a minute. So then we're asking another question. Like, what about this group? Questions. We asking them today. White's like, I got my own questions. Can I split you? And black is like, no, you cannot. Good, strong reply here. No getting split. No getting split. And now we're on a trip again. Do you see? Do you see what just changed on this board? If we just drop down, we're asking ourselves, how do we kill the one group? I want to really kill the one group. But we don't. We poke. We poke. And now we're like, well, damn. There are two groups here that are in trouble. I might be able to kill this one. I might be able to kill that one. Choices. And this is how things actually die in your games. Not because there's one thing running, but because there are two things that White has to respond to. That is Don level fighting. Okay, technically this is professional Go Master level fighting, but let's not quibble about titles, okay? It's like, nope, I'm not letting you go through there either. Dun dun dun. White tries to resist, and black mercilessly follows. And now, when we play the surround, we are not surrounding one group, we are surrounding two. So White's like, I need to do something here. Strengthens himself. Do. This I also like, Because he's making certain that this is all nice and strong. We're not going to like make some kind of weird crazy exchange, get a kill in, and then leave Aji for our opponent to come back. We're dealing with it. It's like we're nice, we're calm, we're collected, we're not leaving the weak points behind. That way we give no hope to our opponent when we crush his soul. So we're getting cut here. Defending ourselves. Threatening to capture. Threatening to kill. Black asks how much Aji is in my position still. Takes away that Aji. My phone went off for some reason. How much Aji? Looks like we're doing okay. But we are absolutely 100% separating this stupid group. No connections, ever. Forcing moves to ensure there's no connections, ever. Okay. Looks like we have something fun here. But, and this part's really cool, just as we had a squeeze on this group, Black has his own squeeze on this one. So we squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hey look, White captured something. Way to go, White. And connect. So from here, it looks like we have a trade. You like how flexible? Yes. Yes, your opponents really, really hate it when you're flexible. You're supposed to be stubborn, single-minded, attack one group at a time until it's alive or dead and then move on. Flexibility is really annoying to deal with. So, right now, White's starting to kill off these stones, right? Can't really do much about them. These stones are fairly dead. However, this area is a little bit larger than this one. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Plus, with the stones that we made here, this is actually quite a bit of future territory to have. Quite a bit of future territory here, right? So we have that awesome flexibility. We saw the amazing reason why we don't just drop down here. And the benefits from not playing like a Q in our fighting and playing like a Don, looking for forcing moves. Forcing this group to run, getting stronger. So we were after one or the other. White tries to resist being dead. Black just flat out turns and says, you cannot. And it is at this stage that White resigns our first game of Dosaku today. Because there's nothing you can do. There's really not much you can do. Because we can connect this way. Or we're going to connect this way, right? For those of you who can't see it. We can play here, here, here. That removes your liberty. That's a Hane, so you're dead. So that connects, right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, these games are really, really good. That double attack there was amazing.